What's going on YouTube? It's PJ's Chess here back in my video. So today I have game 5 of the Cleveland Open. I got a draw in this game. So if you're keeping up, I got 3 out of 5 in this tournament, 1 win the first round, and 4 straight draws. All very entertaining, although they end up with half a point for both sides. This opponent here is 1950. At the time of this tournament, I was 1819. Gained some points after. I went from 1819 to 1832. It was a pretty good game. I was waiting for a lot of it. We'll get straight into it. Before that, though, please subscribe. We're almost at 300 subscribers. Pretty big milestone. Thank you so much for I Want Checkmate. If you are from his account or you've heard of them, he made a video about me. Go check that out. It's how to beat a cheater, or can I beat a cheater, something along those lines. Very good video. And yeah, this is game 5, the final game of this one, and let's get straight to it. Also, the accuracies: 2400 for me, 2400 for them, 88.9 for me, 88.6. So very good game, and a long one as well. It's about 67 moves. It was actually longer than this, but it was no point in putting the rest of the moves into the evaluation, because you'll see why when we get to that point. I go d4, knight here to f6, bishop f4, pawn to d6, e3, knight bd7, and h3. Now, at h3, I already was not feeling great about what was happening. And the reason is, I thought I blundered. Now, this is the best move. I'm playing a game without this evaluation bar. I don't have this in front of me. I thought I messed up, because recently I've been playing, and especially at the time that I played the tournament, knight here to f3, in response here. So this is an accuracy, so my intuition was correct, but that's because of the move order. If the move order isn't knight b to d7, it's actually, this is the better move between h3 and that. Because of this, I didn't recognize the difference in them going here, or say, I don't know, if it's like e6 and knight on c6 instead, where this actually is better. So I'm like, dude, I messed up on the 4th move. And again, going into this round, I have 2.5 out of 4. My goal, I want to win every game. I know that's not super realistic. So I tell myself for tournaments, I want to at least get above 50%. That way, it gets my competitive juices, like I'm calm. And it's still like, it's a decent result, especially being U2100 and I was low 1800s. I'm on the lower end of what you should be in here. I love people who did play up the section. I'm a little nervous. I have some nerves going on for this round more than usual. And I'm like, I messed up on move 4. Mentally, just not in the best spot already in this game. I took a lot of time after pawn here to e5. More than you need to on move 5. Way too much time spent on it, but I did. They went e5. I go bishop back to h2. And as you can imagine, no evaluation bar. If you're just looking at the position, who would you rather play? Now, me, I'd rather play black. The bishop just looks so passive early in the game. They have a nice center. But what I missed is an idea in the center. We'll get to that in 1 sec. g6, knight here to f3, queen here to e7, bishop to e2, and take. So this is what I want to get to. I sped through those moves. Nothing really important happens here. Just kingside development for both of us. Well, they finish theirs there. A bishop g7, and I take the pawn. Now I'm playing against the King's Indian perk system defense. So you're not supposed to take the pawn. You're supposed to let them push and go c4. I learned that in the chess lesson that I did after I reviewed this game. But during the game, I was so worried about the bishop just having this diagonal to become active at some point, or c3, excuse me. This is what I was worried about, which is why I went c3. That's the real, they're both inaccuracies. Taking in c3, both are pretty bad moves. This one is bad because you want to let them do this, right? This is bad because it is not necessary. This is very passive, very defensive. I was just worried about the bishop getting active, as I just mentioned, but you don't have to. That's something that I've noticed that I do a lot, and other people have as well. I can see the issue in a position, but I'm reacting to it too soon. Like, there's no need to play this defensive here. The best move it's saying was castle. I should just castled. Like, they're 2 moves away. Let's see. Like, 2 moves, pawn up, knight away from just getting the attack. Like, it's not even like they get the piece in those 2 moves. They just get an attack. And I could go c3 then. So this was just way too passive of a move in this position. I wish I played something different, but tournaments, they're for learning, for improving, so you gotta take it in stride. Oh. Excuse me, I have very bad allergies, but we'll just keep going in this recap. They castle, I castle, pawn here to b6, knight b to d2, and pawn to e4. Now with the pawn e4, they're attacking this weakness here on f3, or not weakness, this knight here on f3. And I want you to pay attention to where this bishop is pointing, because this is very important later in the game. I go knight here to d4, knight to e5, and knight here to c4. You pretty much have to do this. This is the best move. I couldn't think of any other move that made sense, so this was like an automatic decision. And also at this point, once they pushed e5, I thought I was back fine, because until they pushed e5, I was very worried, very upset that I played h3, trying to talk myself down and out of it, like, okay, I messed up, that's going to happen, it is what it is. But here, because e4 is a good move, it stops the knight, I have to move my knight out the way, they control places on the 3rd rank. But the problem is this light square bishop is no longer putting pressure on anywhere on this side of the board. So I felt pretty good about it. You know, like it was a trade-off, but considering how the open went in my mind, now again, with the eval bar, you and I know watching this video, I was wrong. I was fine the whole time, but I didn't feel that way. At this point in the game, I was like, okay, I played this type of position before. We're all good. Their bishop, or their good pawn, weak bishop on this diagonal. This diagonal does nothing, so I start to calm down and settle into the game. They take the knight, I take back with the bishop, only move that you could play here. Bishop b7, and I mentioned again, while it would be cool if the pawn wasn't there, and the pawn is there. I go pawn here to a4 to stop anything on the queen side. It's a move I love playing on white, and on black I love playing a5. I think controlling this square for your opponent, this b5, b4 square, is a really huge advantage the higher up you get, even lower. I think in lower ratings, sometimes blunders happen more often, but when blunders don't happen as much, controlling squares and positional spots in the board is very useful, and that's why I went there. You may be wondering, like, you could go knight there to try and attack, but this is just a one-move attack. You're trying to double attack the pawn and rook over, which is an amazing move. So that's why I went a4 instead of a single attack to win material, just trying to win a square. They go rook here to e8, d8, rook f to d8, queen here to e2. Pretty simple. If you leave the queen here, let's say, what's a good example of what's one thing I could have done? This is a common idea. a5 is a common idea as a minority attack trying to break, but they have pawn here to c5. If the knight moves, this is probably a bad example, but just imagine this is not the move. I did something else. Move out the way, the rook takes the queen. If you don't move out the way, say move your queen here, they just take the knight. Now obviously a6 is possible there, but say like b4 or something. The main point was this would be a pin on the d file, so I'll get out the way of that. They go pawn here to a6, rook f to d1, and knight slides back. Now this is a mistake, and when I played this move, I got up and walked around. So if you're not familiar with playing in FIDE UCF tournaments, there are people all around you, there are boards all around you, and people in the same section, really around the same points at the point of the tournament. It's ranked like there's a first board, and this is the top board in this section, and it goes down there based on the points you've had, and I just go completely walk around the whole tournament hall, or like my section at least, in the major section. And that's because I was like, did they blunder? Or am I getting like super tricked here, chess move type of thing? I'm saying chess when we're playing chess. Because, you know, like I got outsmarted, and I just didn't see it. So I had to just take a lap, calm down, because my heart's racing like, yo, I'm about to win. I'm about to have a great tournament, 3.5 out of 5, because I'm going to win this pawn here at c7. And I came back, I'm like, yeah, they just blundered. And I take the pawn here immediately. And you could tell they blundered too, because when I walked around, I could see him. He was kind of like disgusted with himself a little bit. But I mean, he ends up drawing the game. But you could tell he was like, definitely messed up there when he didn't know I could see him. But I take that pawn, the rook slides from d8 to c8. I go back to h2, and I go knight here to e5. Now, with knight here to e5, an amazing move. And I have to say, for them to draw this game plus 1.4, pretty amazing. But you'll see the moves I miss later in the video. Some of them, I think, will be like, okay. Like, it's just not so realistic to find. One of the lines especially, it is quite ridiculous. I think it was GM level. So I'm not too mad. Like, I was mad after it happened, obviously. Being up a pawn for essentially 3 hours. Because this exchange happens about an hour in the tournament. And the rest of the game is about 3 more hours. So I'm up the whole time. And I'm actually up when we draw the game as well. So I keep the pawn advantage. I just don't make it a winning advantage. But as I mentioned, 95, you have to take. The reason you have to take, what was it? I think it's because this is hanging. So you move with the bishop, knight can slide in. I think, yeah. So here, just knight d3. Yeah. That's why you couldn't. You had to take it. And then, you know, the bishop's hanging here. And same thing, if you go up, just take. And you'd have, or I could just put this on the board because I'm using my computer. If you take, you're up the pawn still. But this is not exactly how you want to be winning a pawn. Like, you're still up. But two doubled isolated and an isolated pawn, you'd almost rather have black's position. Even though it says 0.8, I'd rather play black here. Maybe not in a classical, but definitely in an online game, rather play black because their pawns are more connected. F5 here with no light square bishop for me would just be an amazing move. I don't know. That's why I decided to just take the knight. Even though you're with the bishop pair, it made the most sense. They take back with the bishop. Taking with the queen, I don't think it was it bad? Yeah, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't the better move. They found the best. I go knight here to c2. Oh, it's also because well, it actually happens here. I just want to put it on the board. But bishop e8. They went into lineup on the king side. And if you've ever played chess or played in a tournament, when you're down, sometimes it's almost easier to play moves. And I just experienced this in tournament after this one because they're such simplistic plans. Like, okay, they're going to beat me let me just try something simple, kingside attack. And I did that too as well. There's a game I played a master, and I'll have that video up soon too, where I end up drawing where he was completely winning for most of the game. And it was easier for me to play, and I didn't have to think as long because he ended up getting in time trouble trying to convert it. I knew I was losing. Just go for simple plans. I just ended up winning because I found a knight jump that ended up getting a fork, and I got up some material, and that's how I was able to draw it. But things like that happen when you're down. Like sometimes it just comes easier as you know the outcome. It's a fixed outcome for you essentially. I lose or I get lucky essentially, or not lucky, or you turn it around. But when you're winning, like I am in this position, it's sometimes coming up with a plan, trying to formulate a plan. It takes more time, and it can be hard. Like it's not as easy to play when you're trying to keep an advantage. And I've heard, this is not just me, I've heard people say that on the chess broadcasts of the super tournaments I watch. Sometimes winning a one position is one of the hardest things. I think David Howe said that. But they go rook here to c5, bishop back to b3. Horrible move. Horrible move. This is a mistake. I should have played h4. I don't think I would have found this though. Let me see the other two moves, see what I was thinking of, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I didn't consider this, or I didn't consider any of the best moves, except I didn't consider king g2. I did not consider rook d2 or h4 though, to be completely honest. I just didn't know where to go with this. If I'm being right here, I thought that if I go back bishop b3, I'm just getting out the way. There's no way they can give an attack. And I saw rook over. I could just go king g2, so I wasn't too worried about it. I think the problem is it's too passive, and then it doesn't allow for a b4 pawn push if needed. That could be wrong, but that's my initial thought of why that's bad. Rook slice over here to h5 as mentioned. King g2. This is another miss. I am not mad I missed this. Like this is one of the few that there are a lot of moves here that I missed that you'll see, but you're like, was I going to play this in an over the board game? Like, was I really going to just drop the pawn here? I just cannot be too upset about that. As much as I want to say, oh, I could have won. Like, let's show the moves and the follow-ups. Rook over. But they have played that. Let's see if they did take the pawn. Because my mind wasn't even here. Queen g4. What if you go back? Q. Oh, okay. So I did miss that. It can't go bishop back. But it's not even something I considered during the game. I only saw king g2. I played this almost instantly. I did not want to drop a pawn, and the counterattack here is not something I looked at. Maybe that's a weakness that I can point at that I have right now. And it was another game, I think it was game 2. I missed a counterattack defensive move versus playing defense. Go check that out if you haven't. But I do understand that some moves I'm not going to find. I can't beat myself up over all of them. The old bishop c8 to attack. Rook here h1. Well, h4 is better. This is why I didn't want to play h4. I did see it here, obviously, you know, with hours on the clock. Oh, I didn't give that. I knew it was something I forgot in the beginning. The time control. Games 1 through 2 were at 60, delay 10. And this is 80, delay 30 with a 30-minute boost and move 40. But the reason I didn't want to go h4, let me just, for example, this probably wouldn't have happened in this order. But here, let's say, actually, that's probably about to put in myself. There, and obviously if I see the pin not move. Even if there's no pin, I thought this was winning. Now this is just a fork at the moment, so I realized that. But this is just the idea. Imagine they played some better defense here. But just as a quick way to explain, I didn't like their bishop being on that square. On h4, I give up the control of g4. So that's why I was afraid of that. I went rook h1, so I still guard the g4 square. Again, not the best idea not seeing the evaluation bar, but it's not something I regret. Like I missed, but that's an understandable miss in my mind. They go rook here to g5, rook a to d1, the best move, controlling the open file. Queen slides over, and this is a miss that is less excusable, if I'm being honest, because I did calculate it in my head when I was playing this, and I go qe1. Now, I did see bishop b5. I was just so worried about the sacrifice. I go qe1, because in my mind, say I went here, I thought this sacrifice worked. Take, and then take. I thought this would be an issue. And I knew that I got a pawn. I knew I was up the piece. I calculated this far, but they have... Oh, I did miscalculate. I thought they were going to have 3... Oh, they do. Yeah, they do. They get 3 pawns for... I guess it's 2 because rook over. You have 2 pawns for the piece, but they have these connected 3. And I was like, maybe I could win this. Maybe. And I did calculate to this point. But I was like, this would be hard to win. And I thought I was winning no matter what I did. So that was a mistake. I could have accepted the sacrifice here. They have these passers. What I did miscalculate is I'd have the e3 pawn remaining. I don't know how I miscalculated that part. I thought they would just be 3 pawns for a piece, but I just assumed with having 3 connectors it'd be an issue. I was incorrect here. But you can also see how you don't want to go for that in an over-the-board game. Norms are on the line. You don't want to go for something you don't know is winning, like you think it is, like I thought it was. Like this could be difficult. It may not actually be better for me when it was +3. So clearly the difference between me and a computer. I just didn't go for it. I'm not too upset about it. But QE1 definitely was a mistake. Like I wish I would have found the better move. But again, I understand the logic behind it. Some of the other ones that I made, like the bishop b3, what was I doing? I really don't know. But the other two is like, oh, okay, I can live with that. They go bishop here to b7, knight here to b4, queen slides over, queen here to d2, and I thought I was completely winning here, which I am. I am plus 2.4, and I was like, there's no way they can win this game. Again, it's true, and I thought no way I could lose it, which was not the true part in that thought. They go bishop here to c7, queen here to d7, rook over. I didn't even see this at first. I thought the game was just over because I thought they had to take, well, because you can't, just for example, you can't slide up because you take there. And you can't just move your queen because I'm pretty sure you could just take the bishop. Because if you check, you could go back. Yeah, go back, guard this, and bishop guards there. So I just assumed they had to take the queen. I was like, oh, they take here. Then I take, and now this is hanging and this is hanging. So I thought the game was over. And I was very shocked when they played rook. I was like, oh, I miscalculated. They can go rook e8. It was unfortunate to see on the board, but you gotta live with the result. I take the queen, take, and rook here to d2. I still thought I was winning, which I was still winning. Bishop here to d5. I don't know why I didn't play that. I really have no good explanation. I did have a reason during the game. I can't remember. And it couldn't have been a very good one, if I'm being honest. This makes so much sense. If they decide to take, I think this was what I didn't want to do it, though. Because they would get the file. Actually, I think this was the reason. And if I go over, oh, see, missing. This is why I'm not a master quite yet, although it's the go. I'm missing key moves, and that's happened a few times. Not in this video, but just in this tournament. I missed lines of ways to win better, or get a better advantage, and it ends up biting me later. Like, I get the draw, but I could have probably had a +2 position or +3 position versus a +1 position to end up figure out a way to turn it around. My turn went around as well in game 4, so can't be too mad at the overall result. They take back rook d2 and knight back to c2. Why knight c2 over knight d5? I don't know exactly. This is just very passive. I was looking to go knight to d4 and reroute here to b5, but again, this little decisions like this are probably why I drew the game after knight there to c2. They go pawn here to h5, immediately h4. I didn't think whatsoever, and the brilliancy you can actually see is coming up soon. But I knew I have to go h4. It's very obvious. I've lost games over the board because they'll play h5 or h4 and I don't match it. And I learned my lesson from that. I learned the lesson to not do that again, and I went h4. They go rook here to c5, the best move. Knight to d4, king here to g7, knight to b5, bishop to e5, rook h to d1, and bishop here. Now I wanted to speed this up a little bit, like nothing so far. I guess I could explain a little bit. I'm just gonna try on the open file. And they can repeat. This is the problem. When I go knight d6, king here, I go knight c. And this is the blunder. My greatest blunder ever. I calculated from knight d6 to about king f1. Like from like 39 to 44, 45. Don't remember I thought of this, but I did see at least a 39 to 44, so 6 moves. And I believe I saw king f1 as well. And this, I calculated all of this with the knight here on b5. My biggest miscalculation ever. So I did see the whole thing. My issue is that I thought it was winning if I play it, which is not winning. Now, what I will say about it, and the reason I played it, I thought they could simply repeat. So I think I just said that, but I want to explain what I mean a little bit better. I thought after king here, if I go knight back, right? Because I think that's even the best move, or that's the mistake. Now, there's definitely a repeat here. Bishop c, oh, maybe there wasn't. Here, huh. In my mind, there was some way they could just repeat the position. If I go back, I think is what I was looking at. Oh no, they can take there. Huh. There was something I saw over the board that I'm not seeing now. So that shows us an accuracy. I thought that there was a way that they would just repeat the position, so I wanted to mess up the cadence and the flow of the game, and I go knight c8. Now the reason I go knight c8, you may be asking, is because I want to attack the rook. So what they do here, bishop takes pawn. The reason you do bishop takes pawn is to discover the attack on the knight. The bishop is hanging, so if you take, they'll take the rook. And it'll be equal material because they're down the pawn. I don't do that. I take the rook, which is not the best move. It's actually better here to take this and go into an endgame light square bishop versus dark square bishop. But you could imagine if you're up a pawn for, at this point, like maybe 2.5 hours, you don't want to just give up that advantage. So I take the rook. You may be thinking this is losing, but it's not, because of here, bishop takes b3, knight d5 check. We don't play knight d5. It's the only move that doesn't lose the game. This I did calculate correctly, although it wasn't the right result that I wanted. They calculate correctly. If you don't play knight d5, you see by the eval bar, it's just completely losing if you don't go there. And I thought this was going to be like +2 or something when I was playing the game, but it's actually equality. By finding that move, I made it where only move territory gets me a draw. But yeah, knight d5 check. They move the king. You have to take, this is the brilliant move. You have to take the pawn, because if you, oh, I should explain something else as well. Going here, they can't just take the knight, because take. And if you did it the other way, I think I did bishop first there. If they do rook take, same idea. So I knew they couldn't do that, or this would not work for them whatsoever. So let's go back a little bit. King over, take the pawn. They take the rook, and this is a miss actually. Rook over, I didn't calculate this either, if I'm being honest. I completely just saw bishop xd1, and yeah. But I take, they take, and knight c4. Now I'm still at the pawn. I'm +1. The way I lose this game, it's this mistake here. I just I missed a key idea. It's pretty cool when you'll see it. Oh, I didn't show one other thing. The way that you're supposed to win here before knight c8. Because this is the part I was saying earlier. If you sound this, kudos to you. It's bishop c4. I just want to go through the next couple moves. Bishop c4, bishop xd6, rook xd6, king g7, bishop b3, rook c, what is it? It's rook c7, rook 1, no, this has to be, oh, rook c7, excuse me. Rook c7, rook 1 d4, rook here to e7. Do you see, like, this does not look winning to me. Like, if I calculated all this out, I would have been very impressed with myself here. And, like, this just does not seem that much better. Like, you're still up the pawn, but it felt very difficult to win. And there's actually a line, I don't think I showed it this time, where the bishops get traded off. So it's just 2 rooks that happen to be there. And it's just hard to be too upset at the outcome. But let's go back to this part. King to f1, pawn here to f6, king to e2, pawn to g5, captures, and the hugest mistake I've ever made in a game 5 of a tournament, king f1. Now after this move, the game is essentially a draw. I could have won before. I didn't miss rook d4. I saw rook d4. I saw king here. Somehow I completely missed, or king f1 works as well. The king f1 or rook here to d7, I think they both work. Yeah, both of these moves would have kept the advantage, and this is a move I probably would have been more likely to play in the game had I played rook d4. I didn't realize that I could slide over. The reason I get my king here is, if you don't understand, at some point they could get an outside passer. Even though they're down material, they'd have an uncontested pass pawn. So I wanted to get my king here to stop it, but I missed that I could do it from behind the pawn and not just blockading it. And that was a huge miss, so I slid back. I wasted time, because if you are keeping up, I moved 2 king moves, 3, just too slow, and this is where the game pretty much ends. Now, we both play accurate. We have to play accurate to finish it out, but I get no larger advantage if I remember correctly. Rook slide, so well. I mean, it's still not crazy. Rook here to d4, king here to f5, knight back here to d2, rook over, b3. Although knight to c4 was the better move. This is just repetition. Like, if you go there, like, I wouldn't do that. So I went for b3 and then c3. I calculated this all the way out, except I thought I was winning, so I played it with immense confidence. Like, oh, game's over. I'm gonna completely win this game. They take the rook. I take. All of this was seen by me. This was seen. This was seen. This was not seen. I didn't see this. And the problem with this move is, well, funnily enough, it's actually still a draw, but if you did mess up, if you push forward here, they go for the promotion. Oh, not at this order. It's actually in this move. I go king here to blockade, king back, and now take back. Yeah. So the idea was that they just control the promotion square with the bishop controlling there, and I can't slide my king over, and you can't take yet. Because you take, they take, pawn, then bishop slides back here to a7. So I move my king forward, trying to stop the pawns. They give a check. I drive back to e2. Same idea. If you go back, I feel like there's just promotion with e2 at some point. They move their king forward here to e4. Pawn pushes. I take this pawn here on a5, and I drop back. Now what I wanted to do was go here, It doesn't work though, because after takes, if you queen, you're actually losing, I'm pretty sure. I think black is, if I remember correctly, yeah, black is winning. So you couldn't go for that, and I realized it. And at this point, once I got king here to e4, I realized I couldn't win. Like, I was going to try, and I play for much longer than this. Like, this is the last move I record, or I put in the evaluation bar. I play another maybe 10, 15 moves, trying to see if I can get them to mess up. The general idea is they get their bishop here, and then here. And I didn't think about bishop a3. I thought that eventually I could try, but they just continually guard this. I tried to get a fork. I try and force their king in the corner and get a fork here. They were somewhere their bishop, but yeah, their bishop was here for some move. And I was trying to get a fork, and it just did not end up working out. So yeah, that was game 5 of the Cleveland Open. I had a lot of thoughts for this one, a little bit all over the place, but I love chess. It was a lot of different lines I was calculating in the game, and a lot that I reviewed after the game on LeeChess and chess.com. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please subscribe, please like, please comment, please just support. I'm going to stream later, I guess later today, but it's coming out tomorrow. I will stream tomorrow as well, so I can say that. I will stream later today. Streaming today, the day I'm recording it, but if you're watching it, that's already happened. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Comment your favorite game below if you've seen all 5 vids, and have a nice day.